members of the university, graduands, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me enormous pleasure on behalf of the entire University of New South Wales family to welcome each of you to this graduation. In the 242 ceremonies I've done, I have never admitted 2 honorary doctorates, and we're going to do that today, and we're going to do it to 2 people who are both alumni of this university, who are both broad in their thinking, and who have both done wonderful things outside of Australia. And so I think it's wonderful, Vice-Chancellor, that you've joined us. I also welcome, as we call her, Mrs. Vice-Chancellor, Claire Hilmer, who's with us today. Now, we're going to do these in separation things, so we'll do first ffwong, ffwong, and we're going to confer upon him the degree of Doctor of Business Honoris Causa as a result of a resolution of our University Council. And I would like, if I may, to welcome his wife Teresa, who's sitting here on the stage. I'd also like to welcome his son and also his son's wife, Yulun, and I'd also like to welcome his grandchildren and his guests. And his guests include, I might say, some real heavies from our Singapore alumni, and I welcome them, including Dr. Jimmy Koh, who has stood here where I am before. I welcome all of you. This is a big day for us, and above all now I welcome the President and Vice-Chancellor, Professor Fred Hilmer, to read the citation.
Well, thank you, Chancellor. And first, let me add my congratulations to those of the Chancellor, to all of you who've graduated today. It is a terrific milestone, and congratulations on that achievement. We have, as the Chancellor said, a first for both of us, 2 outstanding alumni being recognised in honorary degrees. And I think you'll find the stories, and that's the reading of the citation, the stories of their achievements in their lives. I think you'll find that quite inspirational. So if I may now ask Mr. ffwong to stand, and I will deliver his citation. So today we honour Mr. ffwong, Bachelor of Chemical Engineering, UNSW, 1968, for his eminent service to the community through corporate endeavour. ffwong, who we refer to as FF, and I think I will use FF from here going on, is the Chairman and Managing Director of Boosted Singapore Limited. This citation is in 3 parts. I'm going to first read you some of the current business achievements, the business achievements of FF. The second part will look at some of his early life, how he got to that career, how he got to be who he is. And in the third part of the citation, we talk about his tremendous contributions to the different societies in which he's lived and worked. So let me begin then after engineering, when FF began his career in the oil industry, working for Esso in Malaysia, before moving to England to work for Ralph Parsons. In 1973, he returned to Singapore and started his own chemical engineering company. And in the 1980s and 1990s, FF became, I guess, what we call a turnaround specialist, buying struggling companies, fixing them up, and then on-selling them. And through this work, FF earned his nickname, the Restorer. Among his significant achievements, FF was instrumental in the start-up and privatisation of Myanmar Airways International and the transformation of the ailing bread maker, QAF, into a Pan-Asian brand. He orchestrated the dramatic turnaround of Sunshine Allied Investment Limited. Boosted Singapore, where he now serves, was close to bankruptcy when he acquired it in 1996. Today, that company boasts an unbroken lineage of 180 years and an enviable financial position. So these restorer skills have been used in a variety of industries with great success, and that is unusual and exceptional. So let me now turn to his personal life and his early life. In the transformation of his own life, FF demonstrated a tenacious and focused spirit from an early age. He grew up in a poor family, and he lived and he worked with his parents and siblings on a rubber plantation in Johor, Malaysia, becoming, at the age of 7, a tree tapper. He taught himself English by studying 10 words a day and rising early each morning to listen to the BBC on the radio. It was FF's essay elaborating his dislike for rubber trees that secured his entry into secondary school. You had to win an essay competition with his background to get into secondary school. And I'm going to read you a few lines from that essay that he wrote many years ago. It goes, and I quote, "I tap rubber trees. I see rubber trees in the morning. I see rubber trees in the evening. I see rubber trees every day, day in, day out. Rubber trees, rubber trees. I hate rubber trees." And I think the judges were so moved that they let him escape. After finishing secondary school, FF and his family invested their life savings to provide him with the opportunity to study at UNSW, an investment that has certainly stood the test of time. And now I turn to the final part, which is the community contributions. In tandem with his role as the restorer, FF is a mentor and a philanthropist, establishing and contributing to education and training initiatives and to the arts. As one of a handful of major donors, FF helped build the highly regarded Lee Kuan Yew School of Public Policy at the National University of Singapore. He's a founding donor of the Singapore Business Federation Foundation, and he's a generous supporter of the Singapore National Arts Council. He's a member of the advisory committee to the City Chinese Orchestra in Singapore. FF has made a substantial contribution to education in China. The boosted Singapore acquisition of Easy Call International in 2001 transformed this company into one of the most successful Sino-foreign education providers in China through the establishment of the Tianjin University of Commerce Boosted College. The success of the university attracted the attention of Raffles Education, who acquired the shareholding in 2007. In 2008, FF won Chief Executive Officer of the Year Award at the Singapore Corporate Awards. In 2012, he was honoured by this university with an Alumni Award International in recognition of his distinguished and outstanding contributions to international business and the community. He continues to be actively engaged in the Singapore chapter of UNSW alumni, and he has become a member of the newly established UNSW Singapore Advisory Council, willingly sharing his experience and his wisdom with other alumni. FF's son, ffwong, graduated with a BCom LLB from UNSW and serves with his father at Boosted. Despite his outstanding corporate achievements and prominence within the international business community, FF seeks to shine the light not on himself but on others and on his company. He's seen by many as astute but also as exceptionally modest. Today, we're pleased to be able to shine some light on you and to honour this master corporate tactician and philanthropist. The University Council, noting his eminent service to the community, resolved that it would be fitting if the degree Doctor of Business Honoris Causa were to be conferred on Mr. ffwong. Today, we admit him to the university's highest honour. ffwong, I now ask you to move forward to the Chancellor for the presentation of your well-earned degree.
In the name of the Council, we've got to do this right. In the name of the Council, and given the authority that I have as Chancellor, it is an enormous privilege and pleasure, FF, to bestow upon you one of our highest honours, that of Doctor of Business Honoris Causa. Please keep on doing what you're doing, and absolutely thank you for the support you've given the university in Singapore and indeed for all the good work you've done to date. Congratulations, Doctor. We're going to ask Dr. FF to speak to us, and if you don't know who he is, you haven't been listening to the Vice-Chancellor.
Good morning. I thought all what I want to say had been said already by Vice-Chancellor, but anyhow, since my text had been prepared, so I just go through the motion. Good morning again. Chancellor David Gonski, Vice-Chancellor Fred Hilmer, professors, fellow alumni, and friends of UNSW. First of all, I must thank our university for this highly prestigious award, honorary doctorate in business. I feel greatly honored. When Vice President Jenny Lang broke the news to me, I had great difficulties in convincing myself that I deserved such a prestigious award. Why? Because I was not an outstanding student. I didn't have an honors degree. However, I feel a lot better when I take the view of accepting this award on behalf of the indomitable human spirit to overcome the unfavorable odds stacked up against the underprivileged youngsters like myself in the early days to achieve a better life. You see, as Professor Fred Hilmer said, I was born in a rubber plantation to a family of rubber tappers in Malaysia during Japanese occupation. During that era, children as young as 7 years old started to work, helping the family to earn a living. Children went to school late in age and on part-time basis. When I finished primary school, I was the youngest at the age of 15. All my classmates were above 17, the oldest 27. In fact, upon graduation, some of them got married immediately. Not too bad, of course, obviously helping us to build up the population. We never had a chance to learn English. In fact, none of us could recite all the 26 English alphabets upon finishing primary school. Only 2 out of 36 in my class managed to pass the government exam to study in a high school located in a faraway town called Malacca. I was one of the lucky 2. It was in Malacca soon I realized that I needed to break the vicious cycle of my family's poverty. To me, the only way to do so was through education, but not learning everything in Chinese as what I was going through. I bought an Oxford English dictionary and memorized 10 words a day, like what Professor Hilmer said. I borrowed English textbook to learn chemistry, physics, biology, etc. That's not what Professor knew about. All by myself from beginning of the beginning. I worked hard. Within 2 years, I was ready to sit for the Cambridge O-level exam. I must confess, I did badly for all the written papers in the exam. For my oral English, I did so badly that the examiners poke fun at my broken English. Back then, I had not had a chance to speak English to anybody. I have a classmate of mine from Malacca who could testify that. He's sitting down there. Peter, you like to stand up? However, I surprised everybody, including myself. I passed. I think I was the first student from a Chinese school in Malacca to obtain an English O-level certificate. How I made it, only God knows. Perhaps the examiner could have been impressed by my indomitable spirit, certainly not by my proficiency in English. With my background, to acquire education in English was daunting. To obtain the necessary financial resources to do so was even more daunting. You see, the total income of my family, 8 members altogether, was only 300 Malaysian ringgit per month, hardly enough to keep us alive. Despite of this hopeless position, I decided to pursue tertiary education in Australia. My father didn't agree and told me if I couldn't make it, I had to swim home by myself. No one who knew me and my family thought I had a chance to succeed. On the day to the airport, even my taxi driver from my village tried to dissuade me at the last minute from boarding the flight to Sydney. However, as the saying goes, there's a will, there's a way. Like some of our fellow students, that time, I worked 2 days in a week in restaurants to earn money to support myself through the university. I feel sometimes God is fair too. You see, I was quite good in making money from the rich Colombo Plan scholars on poker table, you know, yeah. to help pay my uni fees. I succeeded getting an engineering degree from UNSW in 1968. My degree was a life changer for me. I was hired immediately by ESO. I was making good money, equal to 4 times of my family's total earnings. I was happy, my family were happy too. Unfortunately, soon I realized I could not fit into the corporate culture of rat race. So I decided to change my life again. Against impossible odds, I ventured into business in Indonesia. I cut across the Indonesians, like my friend Eddie there. He's from Indonesia. But at that time, they probably welcomed me as well. I think they welcome all entrepreneurs from all parts of the world to invest in Indonesia, even today. I ventured into business in Indonesia with only $7,500. This small amount of money could only last me maximum 6 months. I was married then with 1 son, living in a rented 1-room HDB flat. I would not bore you with how hard I worked and how much I had sacrificed to achieve what I wanted. I achieved my financial independence in 8 years when I was 40 years old. My life until then was in a situation of do or die. I worked so hard and spent so much time away from home that I missed the growing up of my children, especially my eldest son. With financial independence, I was able to venture into many interesting and exciting businesses, from engineering, education, supermarket, bakery, airline, just name a few, some of which I make a name for myself in the eyes of the public in Singapore. However, I'm most proud of my following ventures. I have built a company specialized in low-cost housing with a friend of mine, also an alumni of UNSW, Mr. James Lim. Would you mind stand up? He provided the expertise. I provided the money plus the guts. We built altogether at least 50,000 homes for the poor in Malaysia. In Singapore, perhaps I would be most proud of a bakery chain called Gardenia. I think for you guys actually who are from Singapore and Malaysia would know this brand very well. I would say this is the most successful bakery chain in that part of the world. This business touches the lives of tens of millions of people every day. I also have built a business in Luoyang, China, in early 1990s. This business helped to provide badly needed protein to as many as 90% of the school children in virtually all the provinces in China, except Xinjiang and Tibet. Just now, Professor Hilmer also mentioned about my involvement in Myanmar. And this is a very interesting business because with no experience, no track record, just a single person, I managed to convince the cabinet to allow me to privatize their national airline. I think until today, perhaps it's still the record in the world, that no one has been allowed to run somebody else, privatize and run somebody else's national airline. I think we can check that, I'm not sure. But I would like to claim that we play a major role in Myanmar's opening up to the rest of the world by successfully rebuilding their national airline. Last but not least, together with my colleagues, I built the first private English university in China called Boston University College. Today we have produced over 70,000 graduates. It's a very small number by our UNSW. But I'm very proud of it because of their proficiency in English. Most of them, if not all of them, found jobs. Incidentally, I never received any pay from them, but they're quite grateful. They rewarded me with a professorship, which I've nearly forgotten. Like all the businessmen, I have my fair share of success plus failures, which I didn't mention. However, on balance, I believe I have lived a reasonable, successful, enjoyable, and exciting life, which I owe to my alma mater, UNSW, who provided me the life changer and the platform for my humble success. My dear wife, who has been my lifetime pillar, she's always there when I need her. Not forgetting my beloved illiterate mother, who give her all her life savings, though small, for me to pursue higher education overseas. Finally, and above all, I owe it to the indomitable human spirit. Dare to try, never say die. If you have a Hokkien here, said, "Ai bia jia ya." To which I would like to dedicate this reward. I thank you.
Thank you so much, FF, for that wonderful speech. You know, in the graduations I do, I usually make a few jokes, not many of them are very good, about the speaker. But as I listened to FF, I thought, no, I don't want to make any jokes about this speech. It's truly inspirational. If you think about what he said, I've got to admit what we believe at this university, that education is a life changer. That disadvantage doesn't mean that you're not very clever. And I loved the way at the end he said, I think you could say I've been reasonably successful. Well, FF, if you are only reasonably successful, there is no chance for any of the rest of us. Thank you very much. Now, ladies and gentlemen, there's one thing I forgot, and I feel I have to put it on the record about FF. He told me on the way in, and it only hit me I forgot. FF couldn't afford to come to his original graduation. So do you mind if we just apply the original degree before this one?